I am JDWolf, and welcome to my XCom Long War detailed overview of the Rocketeer abilities. Okay, so here we are. Let's see. If we come down and pull up our Rocketeer, he's been injured, but he's a good example of the Rocketeer. Now, when you become a Rocketeer, you have a, when you get promoted from Private First Class to Specialist, one of the options you could have is between Suppression, Fire Rocket, or you could pick a random subclass which will assign you another specific class that is not one of these two. If you choose Fire Rocket, you become a Rocketeer. Your next promotion for Rocketeer at Lance Corporal is Covering Fire, Rapid Reaction, or Heat Warheads. As a Rocketeer, you definitely want to have heat warheads for any class that you get. You want to have heat, ammo, heat warheads, whatever heat is available, you want it. So even though Covering Fire, which is a reaction shot on enemy attacks, and Rapid Reaction, which is 2 reaction shots, I prefer heat warhead. We're going to go with the rocket. I tend to make everyone a specialist. If he's going to be a Rocketeer specialist, I want him to be the best Rocketeer he could possibly be. The next is Smoke Grenade, Suppression, or Snapshot. Now here's an interesting way you could go about it. You could either have, but you notice the Rocketeer does not have to use a heavy weapon. He can, but he doesn't have to. And normally I prefer him not to. Just a regular shooter. He doesn't have the heavy weapon. He is able to use the regular rifle, and so I'm going to have him with a scope. I'm going to have him able to hit something when he fires. When he needs to shoot a rocket, he shoots a rocket. So I'm not going with the smoke grenades, or I'm not wanting to have smoke grenades for him. I will use that on a different guy. Now Suppression, see, you can get Suppression up here, and that's a completely different path. So I'm going to use that guy for the heavy weapon Suppression and save the Rocketeer for not doing that. Snapshot used to be only for snipers. Remove the restriction. Any shot is -10 for Snapshot, but Rocketeers reduces the aim penalty for launching a rocket after movement. In the vanilla game, this is important, this should have been mentioned up front, you cannot move and fire a rocket at the same time. In this mod, you can. But the rocket does not have a 90% chance of hitting. It has a scatter factor. You're never, it'll move around, and you can definitely endanger your troops. You want to have the Rocketeer closer to the front. It makes the rocket a lot less accurate. If you want to have him shoot through a window way down there and then take out some guys beyond, I'd recommend you don't do that, because he's got a scatter factor. He's going to hit the wall most of the time. So giving him a Snapshot allows him to move and not have as much of a penalty as he would otherwise. Shredder ammo does give him an additional rocket, does give him a Shredder rocket. The other choices there were dense smoke. If you take the smoke, you might as well make it dense. Tactical sense, +5 defense for each enemy in sight, but you can't pass up a second rocket when those are your other two choices. Even though this just does shredding, doesn't do a lot of damage. The next promotion, Ranger, +1 damage to your primary weapon. Danger Zone increases the area effect of Suppression, which we're not using. Rockets, grenade launchers, and proximity mine launchers. So it's going to increase the area of effect of the rocket. And will to survive 1 to 2 points. I definitely prefer Danger Zone. Let's have the rocket do an increased area of effect. With the rockets and the grenades now in the game, the center of the blast does the maximum amount of damage, and the damage is reduced as it goes out. So you definitely need to maximize that damage. The next promotion is Resilience. Either you're immune to critical hits, extra conditioning, you get extra health, or Mayhem, you do additional damage based on weapon tech for rockets. Now this does affect LMGs. I could equip him with an LMG if I wanted to. The final promotion is Javelin Rockets, Vital Point Targeting, or Rocketeer. Now let's go backwards. Rocketeer gives you 1 additional rocket to be fired. Now that's very tempting to do. Vital point targeting gives you +2 bonus damage against targets that have been autopsied. And I think that's just for the gun. It doesn't mention it as being applying to rockets or grenades or anything like that. I would assume it's just for the gun. Javelin Rockets is new. Your rockets now travel much farther and can hit targets beyond your visual range. Used to be you could fire 2 or 3, maybe 4 squares outside of your visual range. I think, from my experience, the rockets have been pulled back to be only within your visual range. If you take Javelin Rockets, it basically doubles that. So the new rockets are not as accurate. You can only shoot up to your visual range. But once you get Javelin Rockets, now it's more than the vanilla. It's way out there. And it has really brought his rocket game. Yes, he only can fire 1 of those in a shredder, but he's brought it to another level. I can't have him shoot through a window. I can't have him do accurately placed necessarily. He needs a nice range of error where he's not going to kill anybody. But now, and that was difficult because it was only within his range of sight, but now it can be way out there, and he can be off by a little bit and still do what I'm asking him to do, as long as he has a good range of fire and he's not shooting through a distant window or something like that. But this, I mean, obviously you can design your guy a different way. You may want to go with smoke grenades. You may want him, immune to critical hits or whatever. But I believe this, as far as getting him to be a Rocketeer, is the best set of skills to get him. They synergize well with each other. You have the heat ammo. You have the 2 rockets. He can snapshot up. It's got a bigger range. It does additional damage, and it can go very far. So they all kind of feed off of each other to make him better in combat. Not my favorite. I used to really like the Rocketeers for their ability to place the rocket in a specific spot, just like a grenade, at least 90% of the time. Now you don't have that. It's more realistic, but now you don't have that. So, but with the Javelin Rockets, he really does come into his own once he reaches this rank. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the Rocketeer. And if you did, please like, subscribe, and look for more videos on the other ranks, the other classes of soldiers that you can use in the Long War mod. Until next time, stay safe.